The name Agatha Christie has become a synonym for an entire genre, but with more than 74 novels and over 164 short stories, where do you start? Well, that's exactly what this video is all about. Hi friend, my name is Bart, welcome back to the channel, and this week we're talking all about Agatha Christie. This queen of crime is the best-selling fiction author of all times, and her books are translated in over 103 languages. She has many beloved characters and some of her books are enormously famous. But where do you start? This video is a quick guide of how to start reading Agatha Christie. So let's dive in. Now, as always, I will link all of these books below so you can do your own research. So the good news is that you can start almost anywhere you want. While there is some chronological order in the series of Marple and Poirot, you will only see it in the details. But with all of that choice, where do you start? If you haven't read anything by Agatha Christie before and you don't really know if she's for you, then start with the standalones. The standalone books are a great example of what Agatha Christie is all about and how she writes. It is a great place to get acquainted with the author and her style. And I've got 5 recommendations for you. 5 standalone novels that are amongst my favorites. First recommendation I have for you is And Then There Were None. It is one of the most famous Agatha Christie books, and with good reason. This is where Agatha Christie shines. It is a closed space mystery. The characters are trapped in this one place, there is a murderer amongst them, and they can't run anywhere. This book is often cited as one of her best, and I can see why. It has this very impending sense of doom growing on you as you continue throughout the book. And I'm not going to spoil what actually happens. You'll have to read the book for that, but it is a page turner. So my first recommendation, standalone novel, is And Then There Were None. The second one is Sparkling Cyanide, and it's not up there with the big Christie names, but in my opinion, it should be up there as being one of the best. It is a bit of a different Agatha Christie. It is a cold case mystery with very good character study and a little bit of a romance twist. It is also a great example of Agatha Christie being well versed in the study of poisons. Sparkling Cyanide is a very intelligent book and perhaps one of my personal favorites. My third recommendation for you is Crooked House. Crooked House has a great post-war setting and some very twisted, strange family dynamics. This book is one of those books that you either love or hate, and I personally love it. So if you like your Agatha Christie a bit darker, then Crooked House is certainly for you. Now, with number 4, forget all the gloom and darkness and World War impending total annihilation. We're going back to the 1920s with The Seven Dials Mystery. Now, The Seven Dials Mystery is one of her earlier works, very early in her career, and it has that roaring 20s dynamic. So if you want your setting and especially characters, especially the character of Lady Bundle, to have a bit of more swing to it, this is the book to go to. The Seven Dials Mystery is just a very fun read. The fifth one is a bit of an odd choice, and this might get some reactions, but my absolute favorite Agatha Christie book of all times is The Mysterious Mr. Quin. Now, hear me out. Take your classic Agatha Christie mystery, then add some supernatural vibes to it, mix it with a bit of classical commedia dell'arte, and you've got The Mysterious Mr. Quin. Now, fun fact, Harley Quinn, the main character of this book, and he returns in 2 other books later on the series, was Agatha Christie's own most favorite character. Not Poirot, not Miss Marple, and that fact alone should warrant this book a read. It is a great, be it somewhat odd, Agatha Christie mystery. And it is my personal favorite. So if you have read some books of Agatha Christie already and you want something totally different, The Mysterious Mr. Quin is certainly the book to read. And then we have to talk about the series. And by series I mean Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple. Now, should you read them chronologically? Like I said before, it's all in the details. With the Miss Marple series, the village and some details and some characters in the background do change over time. But if you don't mind, then by all means go at it and you don't have to read them chronologically. It's a bit different with Hercule Poirot, I feel, because she does introduce some characters throughout the series that will make a return appearance, but then again, it is not immersion breaking. So if you don't mind about these things, by all means, just pick a book. Any book. Now, which one should you read first? Miss Marple or Hercule Poirot? Again, it depends. It depends on the kind of vibe you're after and your most favorite detective, I guess. Miss Marple has a bit of a more cozy vibe. She is that quintessential cuddly grandmother who sits in her chair and solves mysteries. She's very lovable and the whole series is a bit shorter than Poirot, but in my opinion, it is more consistent in quality. The thing is, with Poirot, that it was public's favorite and Agatha Christie had to write Poirot stories. So you get highs and lows. Some of her best books are Poirot stories, some of her worst books, again, are Poirot stories. So if you want a more consistent vibe, then by all means go for Miss Marple. If you want the very famous titles, like Murder on the Orient Express, and you want a more quirky, better known character, then by all means go with Poirot. So let's start with Miss Marple first. The first book I would recommend is Murder at the Vicarage. Murder at the Vicarage is the most Marplest book of all. Is that even a word? And it is the mold for every murder mystery TV show and murder mystery book you will ever read again. This is classical Agatha Christie at her best. So, first Marple recommendation is Murder at the Vicarage. The second one, I would go with the short stories, the 13 Problems. Short stories are often overlooked, although she has written a lot of them, and some of them are of very, very excellent quality. The 13 Problems are very quick and satisfying Miss Marple reads, and they will give you an excellent idea of what this character and this setting is all about. Number 3 is The Sleeping Murder. The Sleeping Murder is the last Miss Marple book ever written. It's Miss Marple's last case, so you might want to, keep this one for last. But it is a great book. It's again a cold case mystery, implications up to the present, very, very well written. And The Sleeping Murder is one of those books that will keep you guessing all the way to the end of who the murderer actually is. Then we have a Caribbean mystery, and again, this is where Agatha Christie shines. She traveled herself quite extensively, and a lot of her books are set abroad. And again, this is Miss Marple goes abroad, takes a cruise, goes to the Caribbean, and there is a mystery, of course. Very tropey, very classical Agatha Christie, but again, such an enjoying read. And last but not least, we have The Body in the Library. Now, The Body in the Library is this strange juxtaposition of, on one side, the very cozy, cute grandmother that Miss Marple is, and on the other side a very brutal and bloody murder. Classical Christie again, lots of whodunit, puzzle elements if you're into that sort of thing. So The Body in the Library, a bit of a surprising Miss Marple book, but then again, it isn't. And then we have to talk about Poirot. Hercule Poirot, the Belgian detective with his funny mustache, and perhaps the most famous character by Agatha Christie. We identify him with David Suchet, the actor that played him in the Poirot adaptations, and he is still today the public's favorite. So where do you start with Hercule Poirot? I would start with the first 3 Poirot novels. We have The Mysterious Affair at Styles, Murder on the Links, and The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. These might not be the best Poirot books out there, but they certainly are the first. And they introduced the character of Poirot and his sidekick Hastings to the public. They became an immediate hit. And these are, again, classic Agatha Christie, classic murder mystery, country house. Poirot just summons everyone into the room at the end and does his big reveal kind of books. And I love them. They are not the most famous, they are not the best, but they are the bread and butter of what is Poirot. The second one is the odd one out, and it's Cards on the Table. Now hear me out, this is why this book is one of the best Poirot stories in my opinion. It has a cold case mystery, it has a closed circle mystery, great characters, unexpected plot twists. It is simply a roller coaster ride of a murder mystery. So Cards on the Table, possibly the best Poirot book out there. But then again, we have the famous ones. Murder on the Orient Express and Murder on the Nile. Are these the best Poirot books? Not in my opinion, but you have to read them. Two close circle mysteries. On a train, on a boat, they can't go anywhere, and you know there is a murderer amongst them. So, classical Poirot, classical Christie, the most famous books I guess, and certainly worth the read. And then last but not least, I would go with the Poirot short stories. There's Poirot Investigates and Murder on the Mews. Just like the 13 Problems with Miss Marple, these are very quick and satisfying reads. They are of excellent quality, and perhaps some of the best Poirot stories ever written. They are ideal to read in between books as a bit of a palate cleanser, I guess, and they will rekindle a love for Poirot. Now, for Poirot books, I will also recommend to have a look at the audiobooks. A lot of audiobooks have been narrated by Hugh Fraser, a name you might not be familiar with, but you certainly know him as Captain Hastings in the David Suchet Poirot adaptations. And he's a very good narrator, so do look for his name if you see any Poirot audiobooks, because they are very much worth it. Now, let's talk some more Agatha Christie down in the comments. Have you read any of her books? And if so, which one is your favorite? Are you more of a Poirot fan, a Miss Marple fan, or just like me, do you love the standalones? Let me know and we'll discuss some more. That was all for me for this week. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, do subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!